This Warriors Life Podcast 2024, episode 18. I'm Will Evans here with Brad Larking on a Wednesday afternoon. Brad, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm not too bad, actually. A few days removed, not too bad at all. How about you?
Yeah,
You were doing it tough for a good 48 hours there, Will.
Yeah, you called me on Monday morning. I'd already lost my Sunday night wind down time doing the player ratings from that horrific loss to the Roosters. Woke up on Monday morning wondering why the hell I have a Warriors podcast. But a couple of days later, I'm feeling a bit better. And you know what it is, Brad? It's not, the hope of turning it around or, that it's just a game. I think it's just the fact that we've got great sponsors like Kingz Container Crew. It just gets you up every week. Is that how you're sort of feeling about it?
And that was the first thing I thought about too, Will. That was the first thing. It's like, oh, geez, it's not all bad. There's blokes in this world that exist like the lads at Kingz.
Also, our Patreon supporters as well that help keep the lights on. We were going to have to downgrade and just start doing it through a couple of paper cups and string. But, we're well supported by our patrons and especially Kingz, the best container crew mob out there for packing and unpacking solutions. Head to kingscontainercrew.com. Also, if you want to join the team, I'm sure they'll be hiring if you're good enough, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But jump on the Work With Us tab at kingscontainercrew.com. Lovely boys running the show there and fantastic supporters of This Warriors Life. Now back onto, I guess, less desirable topics, Brad. That Roosters lost 38
ads. Let's just do ads all show.
Yeah.
That just removed me
from all down.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here. But 38-18. Brad, you were slightly upbeat, obviously.
Yeah, I was.
Shocking start, but
I managed to separate, and I fully understand the automatic fight back as the Roosters started playing like shit. But I did enjoy the last 65 minutes of that game. I thought it was a good watch. We're in the grind. Just that word that everyone's been talking about this week. It's just a pure lack of confidence, it seems, in the attacking. So I put some money on the Warriors to win at halftime, actually. It's like, I reckon these boys can come out. They're playing all right. And they were playing all right. Jesus, the Roosters it just fell their way. I don't think they got away with too much, the chicken wing. But everything just sort of landed in their lap.
Yeah, well, that opening was, I don't know, you can look at it like it was just one of those horror 10-minute periods. But, given the 3 losses I just had, they're coming in under a fair bit of pressure. You really wanted them to come out firing. And then, Sean gets charged down. Ed Cossey jams in twice. A missed tackle from Lussick. We're 2 tries down. Then, it just keeps unraveling 22-0 after 14 minutes. Those 4 tries come in the space of 9 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than that, and pretty much game over.
I know there was only 2 sets prior. I think, was it the 3rd set of the game where Johnson got charged down? Those 2 sets, though, you can tell a lot about what Warriors team you're getting from their punch in those first 2 sets, and it seemed to have a bit of pep about it. But yeah, and then as soon as that charge down happened, it was they just got rolled over by an insane Chooks team. Geez, they got power everywhere, don't they? Everywhere.
Yeah, firepower coming out the wazoo. And then, after that first setback, we just seemed flat as a pancake. And I hate to say it, Brad, looks like a bit of a deficit in desire and attitude a lot of the time, and particularly in that, first part.
Yeah.
You've got to, if you concede early, you got to regroup, and I think they're quite good at that last year. Like we conceded the first try. Remember last year, the first half of the season, we conceded the first try.
Oh, that's right.
9 out of 10 games or something. But they, come back and won most of those games, regrouped, recalibrated, but just conceding tries in clusters. That's one of the few times we've actually conceded the first try this year. But, I don't know.
That was a romp. Jeez. I don't know. It's weird. Call me morbid, but I'm sort of liking having the grind and the grizzle back in supporting the Warriors. You know, last year it was all happy, joy, joy, happy, joy, joy. Everyone was singing and swinging from the rafters. But this year it's like, yeah, give it to us, fuckers. Come on, let's see how strong we are. I don't mind them seeing them battle a little bit. I don't know why. I don't want them to lose, but yeah. I
get that. I get that sentiment. But yeah, it's been a pretty tough month. Wouldn't mind seeing a couple of spikes of positivity.
Yeah.
As you say, they did well to keep it to 3 tries each from that sort of 15-minute mark. But yeah, you can't really, I guess, judge it. The Roosters look like they're trying to play sevens from that point, just scoring off every set, trying to, their intensity drop. It was a weird game. It was quite entertaining to watch. We were chasing points. Everything felt very frantic. Out of necessity, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to run down points. And there's a couple of times where they sort of look like they could get back into it. Sean's try disallowed with an obstruction. Just a couple of moments. Yeah, at 22-6, you'd be thinking, holy shit, we're actually looking all right here.
Can I touch on that obstruction? Is Sean Johnson so good at a dummy that Jackson Ford thinks he's got the ball and still running through the line? He's got to think he's got the ball.
He's like a startled camel. It's like someone's just slapped him on the ass and he's sprinted through the line. Doesn't really know which way he's going.
You know those reels of a dog getting a fright, like waking up and then just running into a wall? That's it's sort of like him getting through the line. He just gets stunned. Yeah, it's starting to frustrate me.
That one. And I don't know why we keep getting blocker every week when we play in Australia, but Angus Crichton was never going to get there. That's not the fucking rule, you idiot.
I know.
That could not have been more of a blatant obstruction, no try.
I can't remember. He was starting going off at the bunker, and even as the commentator sitting beside him at one stage was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, man, you can't be saying that. You can't say
this is a hot mic blocker.
He's getting real confident, eh? He's got about another 3 weeks in him, I reckon, before he really drops a clanger. And we won't see him for 8. What's happening with old Upside Down Man? Upside Down. Paul Kent. Yeah.
He was in court yesterday. And
this thing
going through the process.
Did he find a glitch? Do you know those videos of glitches in the Matrix? Because all of a sudden he was running that way and then he was upside down on a tree. Like, how did that happen instantly? How did he go from there to there?
It was like suspended animation, how he was sort of like, before it was a good few seconds before he like fell to the ground off the tree. But
yeah, it was. He was sort of stuck to like one of those Velcro, remember those old Velcro things at fairs? You bounce up, pay $5 to put on this horrible Velcro suit. He's never washed. Stick to a wall, fly on the wall. That's what it was. Anyway, where did we get to?
We were talking about Jackson Ford while we're on the topic. That switching him to the right. We talked about it last week. I really don't think it's worked. I mean, he was scored 3 tries in 4 games over on the left. He was getting line breaks galore off SJ when he was popping up on that side. Now he's averaging a try disallowed a game on the right with his clumsy lead runs.
Do you reckon that's where he's getting confused? Because he was obviously running for the other shoulder on the other side of the ruck, and now he's on that side. He's in two because he's always thought hitting the left shoulder, but all of a sudden he's meant to be hitting the right to stay out of the way.
Well, I do have memories of him rubbing out tries on the other side as well, but it's just that we didn't run that play as often as we obviously pepper the right, and now I get the reason why he probably moved over to that side because he's a more damaging ball runner and wasn't quite working out with Kate well. It was easier to defend. He's maybe likely to suck more defenders in. But if you're going to run into defenders when you're lead running, there's no point.
As defensively, I've never looked too much at his defensive stat. As defensively, is he a machine? Is he?
He's incredibly hardworking, especially for a second rower. I will pull up a stat here for you, Brad.
I don't know. The way Webster's running the bench at the moment, wouldn't you want some people that can only do 60 minutes instead of running them out for 75 minutes a game.
So forward and second rowers don't traditionally. It's usually hookers and middle forwards are at the top of the tackle. The tackle counts every week. He topped the tackle count again, not for the first time this year, with 41. He's fourth in the NRL for total tackles. Just clocked. He overtook Tohu last week as the Warriors' top tackler. That's that's right up there.
So he's a beast. He's an absolute.
Well,
so that's the payoff, isn't it?
Well, he's incredibly hard working. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's like the best defender going around. He's obviously they run a lot of traffic at Johnson. I guess that sort of will bump his numbers up as well.
He's a lunatic. Eh?
Yeah, he's a madman. I love his effort, but
yeah,
the execution isn't quite hitting the mark. I'd like to see him back over on that right hand side again.
Fair shout.
What else, Brad? Any positives that you could individually that you took out of that one?
Individually, Johnson was impressive. He was impressive in the way he battled on. The way he battled on.
Gutsy.
Yeah, and I reckon he was playing like a man that knew he was out for a couple of weeks anyway. So what the fuck does it matter if I just play on, just keep going? That was pretty dirty from Keary. Did you know he had that in him?
Doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would do that.
I was shocked.
Incredible that the bunker couldn't come up with the.
Yeah,
he got a good look at it and decided, no, that was okay, and judiciary straight back, clear chicken wing. To a lesser extent, especially after what happened to poor old Harry Grant on Saturday night, the challenge on Dylan Walker late in the game, he was clearly hurt, clutching at a leg. He got cleaned up by the Roosters defender. That he was suspended for a week too. Nothing. No checking. It's
there was a couple. Yeah, there's a couple of. Geez, Dylan Walker. I'm rating him more and more during these tough times. He's a grizzled old veteran.
Yeah, he puts in every week. His work rate's incredible for them.
What do you reckon?
He's on the field.
The next couple of weeks, would you just, because it looks like we're running quite a few wounded animals out there at the moment, eh? Would you mind just throwing the next couple of weeks and just putting them on ice and getting them fit for after the bye round?
Just checking out all the New South Wales Cup boys and or a straight forfeit.
Default. We've got a few out this weekend. Sorry, mate. Duck shooting. Fuck it. Yeah, no. So a few of the boys won't make it. But what I mean is, if these guys have got some niggles, give them some rest time now, because we're going to need them after the bye round. I think a lot of people have already thrown away the next couple of rounds anyway. Put a few on ice and get them healthy and make a charge.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're a chance this weekend. You'd hope that we can find something at home against the Dolphins. But
how are you feeling about this weekend?
Brad, I've got a run sheet here, mate. You've jumped
it's up here in front of me. Sorry.
Yeah,
there we go. Right. I'm quite impressed. Yeah, the viewers at home or listeners at home, there's a little run sheet now. This is getting quite tech here, and I can see the order, and I still don't take any notice.
Speaking of behind the scenes info, Brad and I tried to cut a little promo for the mix and pick game before, a video promo. I click record about 1 second in. Brad, a plume of vape smoke starts shrouding him like he's Snoop Dogg. So yeah, we're still getting used to this whole being on screen rather than
in defence. I thought it was still audio, non-visual. Anyway,
one thing I want to touch on, the sort of what seems to be a lack of trust in his middle contingent, overworking Adam Fanua-Blake, particularly this week with Mitch Barnett playing 80 minutes on the edge. So that's another guy out. Am I wrong in thinking that Tohu played a massive chunk of that game pretty much as a prop and Walker at lock? Tom Ale and Bunty had less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought particularly Ale looked really good.
Ale
was on Jazz. Jazz got through a ton of work in 25 minutes. A tired team carrying injuries.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you use them a bit more?
That's probably the first fix, isn't it, actually, rather than just dump them all and give them a just get that bench. You actually use the bench, eh? Like the other week, Pompey, another game where we're gassed and out on our feet, and we got Pompey sitting there. It's like, what's the use? Tom Ale looked great. Did you see that run? But a couple of times late footwork right at the line that he's sort of got going now. I reckon he's looking like a tank.
Yeah, he's got lovely late footwork at the line and the offload.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of just a bit of energy and spunk about him.
Different body shape as well. Like a different body shape to the others. It's got to make it a bit more difficult thinking about how to get him down to the ground. Yeah, go Tommy.
Now for those who are maybe a little disappointed Fonz isn't on here this week to give us some answers, what's going wrong. But if you don't follow him on Twitter, I've got a little treat for you. So this is what Fonz had to say the other day. He said, I have no idea what has made the Wars go off a cliff, but my best guess is that it's a mix of training/conditioning issues, injury tolls, and some off-field disconnect that we don't know about.
Ooh.
Poking around there. Fonz.
When was it? How many minutes after the game was that, though?
That was the next day, actually. So it had a bit of chance to slip in.
He's thinking deep. I can't wait to hear an hour of what he's actually thinking at the moment. He'll be all over it.
I did just want to touch on the injury element of this, Brad, and I guess not so much now. Obviously, the injury toll's pretty bad now. Sean Johnson's out. Rocco Berry's out. Lasser joining the injury list. Then Roger was obviously a late withdrawal on the weekend. I don't know if we're going to lean on that injury. It's been like a narrative for the year so far, and people have talked about it a lot as far as why started losing these games to teams we thought we should beat. But I just look at last year. We had a shitload of injuries in the first half of the season, but we were still, if we weren't winning games, we were losing them very admirably. And that was with, I'm just going to run you through some, just to jog your memory of some of these injuries we had. Mitch Barnett was missing from round 4 to round 13. He was out for 10 weeks. Harris missed 3 of the first 9 games. We had Josh Curran missing a couple of games. Jazz Tavanga missed the first 2 rounds and then was gone for a long time from round 9. Chance missed a couple of games. Ford missed a couple of games. We didn't see Dallin until round 7. We didn't see Berry until round 11. Who else we got? Egan missed 4 of the first 13 games. What else we got? Dylan Walker was out for 4 weeks from round 11. When Martin went down, it wasn't Metcalf coming straight back in. We had to roll with Walker or Volkman at 5'8" for about 5 or 6 weeks. And in the centres, we had, with the Army, we had Vilea played 5 games. I was actually surprised to go back and see that. So it was a team with a lot of changes, a lot of, I guess, it's hard to get cohesion, but they're still winning games. And to me, like obviously now it's a dire situation, but I think it comes more down. Maybe there's something to the conditioning issues that Fonz alluded to, but to me it sort of just comes down to a bit of, I don't know, attitude and desire.
Yeah, I've been just thinking, are we this year's Cowboys of last year?
Well, you're jumping ahead again, Brad, but we can.
Is this actually on here? Is that actually on there? I didn't even know that was on there. I've been thinking about that all week. I'm sorry, Will. I've done it again.
No,
but I'm sorry. Here's my yarn about it. We are that first year under Payton. Great, they were right there. Then next year, but I think the positive out of this, I think Cowboys window's closing. Our premiership window's still quite wide open with signings, and the role was still on. Like it's not as if anyone's jumping ship and getting disgruntled. I think with the signings we've got coming, we're still in a positive area as a club. We just might have a tough year.
Yeah, well, you do hope that, but then we thought that this year we were going to kill it too. So
yeah, I know.
Nothing's assured, but you do touch on the Cowboys, and there is quite a strong recent history of teams that come from nowhere to make the top 4, and also throwing into this teams that go on a crazy run to make a grand final. So I just want to allude to a few other teams from the last 15 years. The Panthers in 2011, they finished second in the 2010 minor premiership. Blew out in 2011. Matt Elliott lost his job. 2014, the Panthers. This was the next time they made the final. Surge into the top 4 and a prelim in 2014. 2015, tumbled down the ladder. Ivan Cleary gone. The Raiders, their first prelim in I think about 20 years in 2016, and 2017 missed the finals. Parramatta first finals appearance in 8 years in 2017. They actually finished top 4. Wooden spoon the next year. Manly in 2021, they'd been sort of in and out of the finals. 2020, they had a pretty ordinary season. 2021 was when Tom Trbojevic won the Dally M after only playing about 10 games. They made a prelim. 2022, lost their last 8 games. Hasler gone. Rainbow jersey, controversy, total disaster, teardown. And then obviously last year we had the Cowboys finish third, make a prelim, and then bomb out last year. I think the Sharks you could probably chuck in to that mix as well. They were nowhere near the force they were in 2022, where they finished second and then straight sets.
True.
They were a bit flat last year, flat track bullies, but they've bounced back. So that's a bit more encouraging. But yeah, it does happen when you sort of come from a really low base and make top 4. It's not, there are other teams that, obviously Penrith missed the finals in 2019, grand final in 2020, and now most dominant team of the era, but it does happen quite a bit.
Yeah. And that's one of my biggest follies. Always trying to look on the bright side. It's all...
Yeah. Oh no, it's obviously
I know the facts are smacking me in the face. Yeah, but that's great. But I don't disagree with any of that, and it makes sense, doesn't it? We were that come from nowhere team last year. The Darling story. Every year's got a Darling story, and not often the Darling story is the Darling story again the next year, is it?
Well, I was like, because I was quite wary of that, and obviously other teams, but particularly the Cowboys example, with us heading into this year, was like, nah, that won't happen to us. We'll be all good. We're way too good for that.
I still reckon we are. I am daydreaming of a post-buy absolute hunt to end the season, just hunting people down.
We will come to that in a second, Brad. I do have a little section on this one to titillate you.
I should have read this instead of it just being put in front of me, shouldn't I?
It's all right. I'm going to skip that, but I'm going to just want to talk about, because it's been on my mind a lot since we had Sammy Hewitt on the show, and he talked about just that sort of lack of X factor and unpredictability that, obviously it didn't sort of matter to us last year when everything was working like clockwork and we were defending so well and staying in the grind, winning games ugly when we needed to. Yeah. But when they're sort of playing poorly, there's sort of not a player to turn things around.
Imagine we still had a Reece Walsh in amongst these bad times to change confidence.
Man, I know.
That's all we. That's what you're talking about. That's all we need, isn't it? One of those magic men. We haven't got a magic man in that team at the moment.
I know, and I just, I watched the Broncos. I'm jealous looking around just about any NRL team. I watched that Broncos Eels game. It's like, geez, Blaze Talangi first NRL game at fullback and had a few mistakes in him, but he changed the game. It's hard, I think, for this Warriors team when they're not able to get into the grind to swing a game back their way.
Yeah, that will give the rest of it. That's where the confidence comes from, isn't it? That magic man. All of a sudden they're high-fiving because they can't believe what they've seen this little dude just do. And it almost makes me vomit in my mouth saying this. But but old AJ Brimson at the Titans, he's ridiculous. He can turn something on at a blink of an eye.
Yeah. People point to Metcalf. I honestly think you're barking up the wrong tree there. I think, he's very quick. He is. I think maybe it would be better for him still being there, but I don't think he's that that silver bullet that would be our X factor guy that can change any game. I think.
I'd love to think Taupike's coachable and smart enough. If he was able to be coached into a half or 5/8 role, if he's smart enough to learn the trade, he could be one of those X-Men in the middle there, Magic Man.
So we'll talk. Well, obviously he's been named this week, and we'll chat a little bit about that in the section I've highlighted here, Brad. Teamless Tuesday, just in the run sheet there.
Mine, it was highlighted. Mine aren't highlighted. That's what's. Winded me up.
I did unearth another stat today, Brad. Because it just seemed to me that obviously it's not that necessarily these particular players' fault, but it's more about the lack of cohesion and execution right across the lineup. But our 3/4 line, it's been obviously a bugbear of mine for years. Dallin kind of alleviated that last year, with his magic season.
Yeah.
The other three obviously got good points about them, but I was, not as dynamic as most 3/4 lines across the NRL. And I think because the team hasn't been going so well, that's been, I guess, magnified this year. So went through every team and looked at how many tries their starting centres and wingers have scored across the first 10 rounds.
Yeah.
The Warriors, second last in the comp, only 11 between them, and Dallin accounts for 5 of those. The only team worse off, and this team has played one less game, are the Tigers, who have scored the least points in the comp. The Knights and the Titans also have 11. With the Warriors, they've scored least points overall as well. So we're just not, your strike players, the places where you rely to score on tries, it's just not happening. We don't have our left centre. That position has not scored a try all season. So that's obviously Roger and Pompey for a few games. The only centres, and this is either side of the only centres in the entire comp with 3+ starts at centre across the NRL this year, Naden, who started 3 games at centre, Brimson, who started 4 and they moved into the halves or fullback, and Soili actually was a bit of a surprise. But
I think Blocker pronounces it Swahili.
Oh man, it is
Swahili.
Excruciating. It puts about 17 syllables in it.
He's trying his guts out, but he just can't get it. Just can't get it.
He must be listening to Buzz on 360 because he does exactly the same thing.
Oh, does he?
Fucking disgusting.
It is disgusting. Anyway, sorry. Soili.
Yes, that's all I had to say about that. But just thought it was reasonably telling. Like, it
was rearing its head to me. And we spoke on the phone about it this week. Like the year before last, everything was roses, so it's hard to. But before that, as soon as Rocco Berry gets in a bit of open space, he starts jinking and jiving instead of just pinning it. I want to see that big bastard pin it in a straight line.
Yeah, it just seems quite unnatural when he's in space. And I think, maybe he's not going to be that guy and he's got his other attributes. I actually thought his...
like he's fucking agoraphobic.
Just gets freaked out by big open spaces. I thought he came up with some amazing tackles on the weekend.
He did. Yeah.
He's got a fractured hand out of it, so he's battling on through an injury he probably didn't know he had, or was obviously a bit sore. But yeah, when the team's going poorly, you're like, oh man, wish we had, someone that could do what Will Penasini or Matt Timoko can do, create something out of nothing. Whereas, Berry, it's unfair on Berry if he's not that player because he brings a lot of other traits to the team. And obviously, Roger hasn't, not necessarily through Roger's fault, but we haven't been able to unlock him or give him enough opportunities. I thought Pompey looked relatively dangerous, but
yeah, he did last week. He was pushing the line a bit when he was hitting it. I liked Pompey's game. I wouldn't mind Rog playing outside Pompey because Pompey's a good disher too to a winger. He can dish a ball out to them. He might not be dynamic, but he can set someone up.
Yeah, we saw, he does have some good instincts anyway. Can do that sort of little shuffle to draw a winger in and give your own winger that sort of half a man overlap.
All at a
Reading
painfully
between the
slow
lines.
pace.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Reading between the lines, what was going to happen on the weekend was Pompey was going to come in and Roger was going to move to the wing. I don't think that Ed Cossey was meant to be anywhere near that lineup. That they weren't going to do a straight drop, Cossey for Montoya without bringing Pompey into the lineup. I think we saw that from the South game where Dallin was ruled out, and instead of keeping Roger where he was, they chucked him on the opposite wing and brought Pompey in. So
yeah.
And Cossey, I mean,
so what is this? Sorry, go.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm not going to jump on the Cossey bashing bandwagon because I got off it last year, so I'm not going to come out with any I told you so's. But yeah, I actually got quite on board with him last year when he strung some games together last year and then got injured. But man, he could not have had a worse opening 10 minutes to that game. Two ridiculous jamming that made fucking Dallin look like defensive winger of the year, and then coughed it up on his first hit up. Like it is just could not. You could not script it. It was unbelievable. Poor old Ed.
How much we don't want to bag, like even it was a pass up over his head. It wasn't, but still,
gotta fucking catch it.
I know, and I just don't think he's our future outside back. I don't know if he's quite NRL quality or if he'll ever be maybe NRL quality. So look great on the wing for Salford, but he would yeah, I just don't think he's there, and I wouldn't mind what's it called, just trying out a few different people there in front of him now. I don't know if he's my first drop anymore.
Well, I mean, the fact that Montoya has come straight back in this week suggests that wasn't what was, wasn't the plan. It wasn't drop Montoya for Cossey. It was drop Montoya and chuck Roger on the wing, which we won't get to see that for several weeks with Roger out. But as far as, I guess, future options, Brad, they didn't screen the whole game and it was only highlights. But our pet project, Moala, Graham Tulfer.
Yeah.
Another three line breaks on the weekend.
He's so ridiculous and
he's on the wing actually as well.
And I think he just looks like, you just get those style of players, almost like that battler from Queensland Cup that's playing fullback at Dolphins at the moment. Isn't he just a toiler? Yeah, been toiling away, and he gets his opportunity, but his game doesn't change no matter what field he's running on. And I think that Telfer is going to be one of those guys that he doesn't care if it's NRL or bloody New South Wales Cup. He's going to play his game and he's going to make things happen. On a wing or centre, would you like him?
Well, he's been playing really well at centre.
He has.
I don't think they're going to shift. I don't know. I don't think they're going to pick him ahead of Pompey.
He's a couple of cabs down and Leia Tower.
I'd like to see him get a run on the wing. If the opportunity arises. I don't know what that. Is it something after round 10 or round 11 that you can start pulling players from outside your top 30?
Correct.
I'm not quite sure where that stands. The top 30 that I've seen with Leia Tower playing this weekend, that means that every single member of their top 30 is played, but they only named 28. And then they had a bunch of sort of complementary players, including Ben Farr and a few others. So, I don't know how it stands with it when you can bring in more guys. Obviously, most teams use more than 30 players in a season.
Yeah.
But I would love to see him get a go in a position that is desperate for an injection of something different.
Yeah, I tend to agree. When I was saying that Cossey's no longer my first drop, he'd be ideally the next cab off the rank if Montoya's sort of doesn't find any form anytime soon. Montoya's been good for a couple of years as well. I hope he does find form because he has been Mr. Reliability for 2 or 3 seasons now there. I hope it's just a dip, but it could be him on the decline maybe as well.
Yeah, well, because he's not. I don't blame him for not scoring a bunch of tries. He hasn't had any opportunities, but it's coming up, dropping high balls, coughing it up in a hit up, and then kind of going into a shell and not racking up the meters. I mean, if you can't counter that with something brilliant, then kind of what are you there for? I guess, which is a shame because when he's storming onto it and fending people off and bumping guys off, and then he picks up the tries that come his way. He's not an acrobatic finisher, but he'll power open the corner when he gets the chance.
Fight his way for it. Yeah, I hope he comes right, but at the same time, I wouldn't care at all if Taufa was playing this weekend. I'm big on him for some reason. Like a more consistent Paddy Herbert.
Yeah, and probably with a bit more
he's got a bit more game. Yeah, okay. And who was that other real stocky second rower that starts with H? And, you remember that young guy?
Halasima?
Yeah. See, I reckon he's another point of difference player. Chuck all shapes and sizes at defences, I reckon. Have someone 4'2" and 200 kilo, and then someone 6'8" and 150 kilo, and have them changing their defence by just chucking different odd-shaped people at them. Maybe we will get a call-up.
Yeah. Well, you'd definitely be unique in the body shape department there, Brad.
Imagine me mouth guard in, head taped up out there. I'd last 2 minutes. First tackle, I wouldn't get up. I'd be calling and be saying, "Nah, it's no good. It's no good. She's gone." Fuck that. It's a horrible world out there on those footy fields, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah. It's rugged. I've been down to watch a bit of grassroots footy this year because my 18-year-old cousin is he cut rugby loose and he's playing for Riccarton Knights Premier Reserves.
Yeah, so man.
I've got to give it to the young fella. He's quite a strapping lad, but he's quite I guess demeanor wise he's quite quiet. You wouldn't think he's aggressive and stuff, and he's just, coming straight out of first 15 rugby. He's putting his body on the line against some hardened men in their 30s. This is Premier Reserves, so
reserve. That's a dangerous place. Reserves, eh? That's those guys. You're too old or too ill-disciplined to play upper grade.
They're rock hard guys that have won fucking Canterbury Rugby League Grand Finals and played for the Bulls, and but he's
16 Jack Hendringtons out there.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's like a minefield. You're in the shit playing reserves.
And even watching the Presidents, which is over 35s on the other ground, there's some old boys in that. There's some over 50s in there. And in an ideal world, I like to think, I could go out there and have a game. But I only think about like doing some ball playing, having to make a tackle, or someone getting thrown a hospital pass, and then I can't walk for the next 6 months.
Always just imagine dropping someone off on the inside, and just sort of prancing around.
Yeah, I think touch football is what I'm after there.
Yeah, I like the Ripper. Ripper be as physical as I go these days.
Do they have Ripper for adults?
I think they do. It looks fun, actually. At least it's better than touch. I hate touch. Your t-shirt sags out a little bit and they nick it with a fingertip. Touch. Bullshit. You didn't touch me. You nicked my t-shirt, loser.
Yeah, that's where Ripper is. You can't lie.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got the thing in your hand.
Exactly. Nah, and you just make sure your Velcro's up to date. Real good shit.
Industrial grade.
Dragging a dude along the ground.
I wonder if there's anyone that cheats and like sews their Ripper tags on.
I didn't get him all day.
You're a real competitive parent. You sew your kids' Ripper tags on. I just can't catch the kid.
Those dudes that catch fish and put lead in it. Anyway, that's another yarn. That's for our fishing pod. Where are we up to on the run sheet, William?
Well, since we did bring up New South Wales Cup, I just want to give a shout out to that team. Obviously, they've been, pretty hard hit by injuries as well. Just by proxy of the top grade team. losing a lot of
Yeah.
guys. And they're winning, and they're drawing with, draw with, was it Penrith, the table toppers? They got the win over the Roosters with a very, and they didn't have Tuapiki, who's been huge for them. Obviously, he was over with the first grade team. And they still got the job done. A couple of Canterbury boys are doing a great job. Tanner Stowers-Smith, who's still a teenager, outstanding in the front row. And
teenager.
yeah, and another young bloke from down this way who still playing a bit of flag, I think. During the I'm just trying to vamp a bit because of I need his name in front of me.
You need a run sheet.
Yeah, I don't know. He's playing hooker, and his name is Makaya Tafua Linwood, I believe, and he scored a couple of tries recently. He had a great he scored one from dummy half the other day. 2 minutes later, had a very deft touch and a long range try, which Montoya actually threw the last pass for. Some really good players running around for our New South Wales Cup team. Obviously, there's been a lot of attention on our Harold Matts and SG Ball team, but this New South Wales Cup team, we thought they were going to be unbeatable because of how strong they look, but they're actually more impressive the fact that they've lost a lot of guys and still winning games. Zion Maeu going had a fairly decent run for them the other day as well. Paulie Roach at halfback went well. Ben Farr, I wouldn't mind. I'd actually would give Ben Farr a crack if it came down to it. I mean, we haven't talked about it yet. Probably could talk about it, Brad. Should we? We'll talk about it on Teamless Tuesday. But Te Mare Martin needs to show something, and especially now with Sean out. But
Ben Farr, I wouldn't mind seeing him poke his nose in.
He kind of seems. You look at him and he sort of seems like a spare parts player that could play anywhere, not quite good enough to command a spot or be a little bit reticent to bring in, but he does some good things.
Dependable as shit, eh? He's like I don't know, and he's a long way off at the moment, but he reminds me of a Tommy Dearden type player. A little competitor.
Is that just because he's small and blonde? You just
maybe that's got a lot to do with it. Yeah, but then I'll form the argument around that base. Yes, maybe. Yeah.
And just a quick shout out to my. I can't wait to see this guy develop. Siao Kali, another try assist on the weekend, 2 line break assists, a few tackle breaks. 18 years of age and just looks like an absolute natural and exactly the kind of centre that we want.
Yeah. Oh, they're all doing pretty sharp things. They had a grind against Newcastle. I watched that Newcastle game. That was a hell of a grind in the wet they had there as well.
Well, that was exactly the kind of performance we wanted to see from our NRL team. They stuck in it all day. It looked like they were going to lose, and then they come away, fell behind them through a field goal, I think, and then managed to find a try in the last 5 minutes. That was so gutsy.
Yeah.
It was exactly what we're hoping to see from our top grade team in difficult conditions. And New South Wales boys showing how it's done.
No, the future's bright. Oh, well, that's all good. What does that run sheet say?
The run sheet, I need to talk about where the Warriors sit after 10 rounds. A bit of stats and history coming at you, Brad. I'll try and rip through it quickly, mate. But so with 3 wins, 1 draw, 6 losses from 10 games. We did talk about it a bit recently, but the only other campaigns, the Warriors have collected less than 4 wins from their first 10 games. 97, 98, 99, 2000. Obviously missed the finals in all 4 of those years. 2004, the disastrous Daniel Anderson year, walkout year, finished second last. 2009, obviously a tortured year, finished 14th. 2013, went 2-8 and then went on that mid-season run. The only time since 2013 that we've had less than 4 wins from our first 10 is 2020. Obviously, a few hurdles and setbacks and excuses in that year. They were 3-7 and actually went on a pretty impressive revival that year. One thing we haven't touched on, so this 4-match losing streak, It is the first time that the Warriors have dropped 4 games in a row in the first half of the season in 17 years.
Uh-oh.
Now, that may sound terrifying, Brad, but that last team to do it was Ivan Cleary's 2007 team. They lost 6 straight, actually, which gave them a 4-8 record after 12 rounds.
Yeah.
The good news about that is that team clicked straight into gear. Just had one. I think it started with a tight loss that sort of galvanised them a bit. Then they went nuts in the second half of the year. 1-9, drew 1 of their last 12, and surged into the top 4. So that, I guess, does illustrate again what is possible.
So we just need to lose these next 2, and we can make the top 4.
Yeah, I think you probably want to.
The argument you was. Oh, okay.
Yeah. 4-match losing streak, no good. 6-match, perfect.
6 matches. That in terms of losing streaks, that's where you want to hit. 4-match will get you nowhere.
But I do, just to a cautionary tale, Brad.
Yeah. Okay.
The only teams in the last previous 15 seasons to win less than 4 games in their first 10.
Yeah.
And make the finals still. Parramatta in 2009, it was Jared Hayne carrying the team on his own back, and they scraped and taped. Obviously went all the way to a grand final. The only other team since then, Penrith in 2017, they started the season terribly. The game actually that turned it around for them was when the Warriors led 28-4 at Penrith and lost 36-28. Then the Panthers thought, holy shit, we're actually all right. Went on to make the finals. We finished, I don't know, 13th or something on an 8-match losing streak. But yeah, the reality is we've had a fairly soft draw. Only 3, maybe 4 games against teams you'd expect to be in the finals, and we had 3 straight losses to teams you'd expect to miss out. Whatever happens the rest of the year, if we miss the finals, that's the little period where we look back on where it was, what the season hinged on. But we'll keep getting the calculators out, and hopefully we see a few. It's just about getting wins at the moment, and it's not even necessarily about form at the moment. It's just wins is the
Start panicking when it becomes mathematical. When we're starting to talk about other people who we need to lose, that's when you start getting dire. We can still do it with wins. Shit. Yeah, she's tough old times, but oh well. Only piss for the dick you've got, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's a pretty weathered, flaccid old looking thing with our injury toll at the moment, but they'll get out there and see what they can dribble out on the weekend.
Darth Vader with no helmet on.
Brad, I guess we'll have a look at the team list when we have a look at the game against Penrith. But I was curious to get your thoughts. Obviously, there's a lot of chatter about bandwagon supporters, and a few, I guess, rusted-on fans take umbrage at bandwagon fans, and I wouldn't begrudge anyone just sort of losing a bit of interest at the moment.
Yeah, and especially the newbies. What have I signed up for? And maybe this isn't me.
Like, I'll keep watching. I might watch half a game. I've got something else on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe I'll skip this game. Yeah. I mean, who cares? It's just the nature of sport. And I will say, Brad, that the Warriors going poorly. Probably not seeing these kind of newcomer fans in your sort of comment sections and in the Facebook groups, and geez, it's a real cesspit in there now, and there's some absolute munters giving their half-baked, half-pissed opinions. Jesus Christ, I'm not talking to any. I'm sure it's no one that listens to this podcast. People. Absolutely. I can't even believe these people have a phone plan to leave these comments. They'll leave it
fully unhinged. Unhinged.
I've had to. I haven't dipped out of the groups, but I've had to silence them just so I don't come up on the feed.
Yeah. Right. I have to say
the comment section of the TWL posts have been still
diplomatic
quality.
Diplomatic. Yeah. But yeah, there's no unhinged
But yeah,
yet.
man.
Is it getting pretty dirty out there? Is it? Oh, so
Well,
some of them are looking to get off
some
the
of
bus.
those some of the big sort of Facebook groups, where anyone can just go and do their own posts. It's a mess. But I'll tell you what, those moderators are not doing their job. They've got to get a bit more selective.
Then they just disappear for 3-month terms all the time, because they keep breaking rules, terms of Facebook, and get shut down.
Yeah.
Oh well, you wouldn't see me getting off the bus.
Yeah, we won't be getting off the bus anytime soon.
No, I've bugger that. What would it take for you to get off the bus? It would take a whole lot, wouldn't it? If I was a Tigers fan, I'd be looking at. I probably would have got off the bus 2 or 3 years ago. But I've been speaking of not getting off buses, I once didn't get out of a van. I was told to get out. Sorry, segue. I don't know why I've just thought of this. Segue. We used to go fruit picking in Nelson every year, school holidays. So from 5th form, 6th form, 7th form, which I look back on now, it's like, what if my mum let a 16-year-old kid just go live on an orchard in Nelson for 4 weeks?
Where did you stay? I want to hear more about this. What was your accommodations?
Orchard. So most orchards have accommodation huts for transient work staff. So you just got like given this little bunk room. Yeah, bunk room, communal kitchen. So 5th form, 6th form, 7th form. I think it was the 7th form year. It was the last year we'd done it. So we're getting quite first year, we're like, oh, we'll save some money and da-da-da. And then soon realised that what's the point of saving it because you're not making much. So by the 3rd year, we went to this orchard. It was in Ruby Bay in Nelson. And we went to this orchard.
Lovely spot.
Yeah, it is. It is a lovely spot. Friggin' heaven. So we were there on the orchard, starting the hut. And this year, do you remember those rad tri-series, cricket tri-series? So
Australia.
It was 1997, yeah. So I think it was Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa in a tri-series. So we got to our hut. It's like, oh fuck, we shot into Motueka and we rented a TV, and then took it back to our bunk room. Went into DTR and rented a TV for a month, and then got back. And the cricket was all day nighters and that. So they'd start at like 12. Well, anyway, long story short, we were working and we're living in Ruby Bay in the orchard, but working in Motueka, like 30, I can't even remember. I'm going to say 30, probably wrong. Drive away. So the orchard owner gave us a van to get in and out each day to work. I remember one day we were coming up against South Africa and we were real keen to watch this game. So we we were watching heaps of games, to be honest. We were the worst employees ever. So at lunch, we'd go to work at 7, and then at 11 o'clock, we'd get in the van and drive back to the hut and watch the game on TV. And I remember one day, this dude come in, and we're just all in the van. He come up, and he was all angry, and he slid this van door open. He stood back, and he's like, I didn't give you this van just so you could work half a day and get back into the hut. I gave you this van so you could get here and get a solid day's work done. Gave this full rant. And we're like, and then he sort of, when he was finished, he stood back with his hands on his hips, and we all sort of just looked at him. And then I can't remember who it was, just all you heard was a van door shut, and just drove back to the orchard and watched New Zealand play South Africa. And it was funny, his face when we drove off. Get that dude's face, man. Holy shit, he was so disappointed. So disappointed.
So I guess because even the worst consequences, which I guess is you getting sat, you didn't really give a shit.
Oh, we didn't. No, we didn't. No,
you can't really take him seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, poor bastard.
I know. He stood back expecting us to all climb out the van, and we just shut the door on him and drove away. That same year, we were there for 28 days, and we had fish and chips from the Ruby Bay fish and chip shop 28 days in a row for dinner.
Whoa.
Yeah, every single night.
Man, you didn't pick up scurvy from that?
All good. Yeah.
If we do have any listeners under 30 or even like 35, they'll be wondering what the hell you're talking about, that you can rent a TV and DTR.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still a thing.
You should have seen this hut, man. We rented all sorts. I can't even remember what else, but we had I think it might have been a PlayStation as well. This little fucking thing. If it had a power plug and we got like a multi-box and just lit this place up, yeah, we were living like kings in 8 square meters.
What'd you pay for a TV for a week?
Oh, I wouldn't even have a clue. Who knows? I didn't care. Probably,
If
I
anyone from DTR out there's listening, have a sponsorship deal. We'll put you back on the map.
yeah. Anyway, sorry. Run sheet. I'm not keeping to this at all.
No, it's all good, man. We'll talk about the mix and pick game, eh?
Oh, righto.
Now the winner this week, and a clear cut winner. No tiebreakers needed. 6 again from Wainuiomata. No, a great rugby league region. 6 again. He scored 10 points. He's the first player to achieve that.
Attaboy.
In the early poll, he clicked on not confident at all, and went on to answer the questions on that basis. Roosters 10 plus. Roosters first try 31 plus points past the Warriors.
So is that
and he got the trivia
perfection?
right actually, but yeah, well done. So congratulations, that TWL limited edition T-shirt number 10 is on its way to you. 6 again, you disloyal bastard. But well done. No, just kidding.
I have noticed that name. He goes all right, doesn't he? He goes all right. I have noticed that name scrolling through. How'd you go? What'd you get?
No, I got. I think you beat me this week. I got 5 and you got 6. Is what Brian told me. I forgot to have a look at me.
I got 7. I got 7, didn't I? Hang on.
Did you?
Yeah, and then friend of the show, Michael Minogue, drew with him.
Oh,
so, yeah, a bit of a grudge match going on there. Yeah, no.
Nice. I was just kidding as well. 6 again, because he actually sent a message to say good work on the podcast and the site. So, he's looking forward to getting his, what was it? Bright Royal. You can choose your colour, by the way, the T-shirt. So he's chosen Bright Royal. He's not the first to choose Bright Royal.
What colour would you choose if you ever get your hands on one of these T-shirts?
I'm pretty with these Aces colour T-shirts. I like a white marl, which is basically that sort of grey.
Yeah.
The black marl, which is just more of a black with a, not quite as shiny.
Yeah.
What is marl? What is marl?
It's just mottled.
Is
it mottled?
Yeah.
Is marl just mottled colours?
Just a little bit of a mottle through it.
I'd go white.
Actually,
white. Did you know that there's a thing that men over 40 shouldn't wear white T-shirts?
What's that about?
I don't know. I randomly caught this somewhere the other day, and that's pretty much solely the only colour T-shirt I wear. If it's if I'm doing something. Otherwise, if I'm getting dressed up, a white crisp white tee on. Always.
I like a white T-shirt, but honestly, it's a magnet for getting something on it. I'll get changed out of a white T-shirt to eat because I know it's all over.
Jeez, lasagna toppers love white T-shirts, man. Love it. They are too positive or whatever. They are, on it. Anyway,
back to mix and pick. Play this game this weekend before Sunday's Magic Round game. Another T-shirt on the line, limited edition number 11.
Ooh.
My favourite number, so it's a special T-shirt. The season leaderboard, 03 represents, still on top spot. Billy Spleen, still in second. Danksy, 2222, he's in third. I think he's won one of the T-shirts from memory. 6 again, his week winning performance boosted him up to 8th. I'm still in front of you, Brad, number 36, and you're at 42, so
42.
Tough luck, man.
42.
Pretty close, though. You're closing the gap.
And late season surge, mate. That's what I'm all about.
Brian sent me through some data. Chance actually pipped, so for this week's game, Chance pipped Adam Fnell-Blake by 1 vote. Well, that's so far for player of the match in Sunday's game. I thought Adam was quite clearly our best on ground again, and from a pretty motley crew. Chance went well, but I think Adam was our standout. One of the questions this week: how many tries will the Panthers score in the first 20 minutes? 2 tries is the most popular. Looks like we're going to get pumped again on the basis of that, Brad.
I got this crazy optimism about this game this weekend for some reason. I don't know why.
Brian's also reminded us, Brian from Mix and Pick, a tip for you guys: you can change your answers on some questions for the first 15 minutes or so of a game. So keep that in mind.
I did utilize that new rule. I did utilize that new rule last week. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had to do some adjustments.
So that could be the difference between, wearing a This Warriors Life t-shirt in a couple of weeks' time, or just still getting around in, whatever
rags
crummy
you're
old
running.
t-shirt you've still got. Yeah. Brad, there's a couple of things I wouldn't mind getting off my chest that is in my personal life that has happened to me and caused me a bit of distress.
That got heavy real quick.
Are you here for me?
Yeah, whoa. I'll reserve judgment until nah. Let me hear what you got first. I've got a bit on myself, man. I don't need to be taking on everyone's junk. Anyway, come on, bud.
Well, firstly, just following on from some of my wildlife-related issues that we talked about on the pod a little while ago. Fairly incident-free for a wee while. The cat hasn't brought anything in for ages.
Yeah.
Nothing else too weird. So we have a Weaver barbecue outside. That's how I cook probably 80% of my meat. So even regardless of what we're having, I'll go out there and chuck.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that happening quite a bit.
Chicken thighs on the barbecue, or any steak, whatever.
Is that because of a smell thing, or you prefer the taste?
That's part of it. I just like the way that it cooks it. Just prefer it. So it gets a lot of use right through the winter. Obviously, it's not quite as pleasant going out there. It's dark, it's cold. I go out there. It's you can see your breath. This is about 7:00 last Wednesday night. Go out there.
You do this through winter as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, carry on.
Outside not a long walk or anything.
Picture, bro.
Yeah. Turn the gas on. Lift the lid to because I have to light it with a match. I've lost the ignition thing. Fell out.
Could you use it so much? I'll give up too.
And anyway, so I lift up the lid, and it was either a small rat or a massive mouse sitting on the grill. Scared the shit out of me. And it didn't jump off. It didn't jump off and scurry away. It went through the little gap at the end of the grill plate and into just underneath there. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. I'm not dealing with this now. And just went back inside and cooked it on the stove.
Did it so went under the burners? Crawled down under the burner. Yeah.
And then
did you see yourself? Did you drop the lid?
Yeah. And
so it couldn't get out. So you scared it underneath.
And then and then the worst part was I kind of forgot about it. I was out getting some firewood in the other day, and I was like, and because I'd closed the lid, I went and just opened it. And it was fucking still in there. It was still looked straight at me. Didn't even startle. It just kind of looked at me. I was like, yeah, I'm still here.
It's living on charred tenderloins.
Well, yeah, that little fat tray at the bottom is probably having a great time.
It's like doomsday prepping in there, man. He thinks he's...
So I've left the lid open. I've left the lid open. Hopefully he's not... Because it was probably quite nice and sheltered and warm. Cat can't get it. So I've left the lid open. Hopefully I'm going to have to clean the shit out of it before I...
It's an architectural rat's house, eh? Like, compared to what some of them are living in, it's like, fuck.
So the other thing that's happened to me, Brad, quite different, this one. So I've been going to my gym for almost 2.5 years and just classes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a trainer there, not one of the main trainers, but I probably do one of his classes a week on average, maybe, and then he is a participant in some of the other classes.
Yeah,
but he thinks my name is Brett.
Oh no! How long's
I
this been
know,
going on?
and it's probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, oh no.
I know. So it's happened. The first time I was like, did he say Brett? Did he say Brett? And then the second, I was like, okay, I've got to nip this in the bud early or not at all. And so the second time he said Brett again, and but he said as he was walking away, I would have had to like run after him to correct him.
Stanza moment, eh?
Yeah, total curb your enthusiasm, awkwardness. I'm just, yeah. So if you could send you any advice in, if it's just should I just quit the gym?
So you're just living through that at the moment. Oh, keep me updated. How are you gonna broach it? You need to
I'm
make
waiting
up.
for someone else.
Get a bogus. You need a bogus work uniform with a name badge well on it. That's
well. What my other solution was, maybe flying you up here for a few days, and you could be a plant in the class. So you come along, and then you're like, yeah, Will, nice squat, bruh.
yeah,
And then and he'd be like, Will, oh man, have I been fucking up his name? And
yeah.
then
I know it's gonna be. You feel bad for him once he finds out, eh? It's like, oh, that's not nice.
yeah, I know. The whole thing is incredibly awkward. I've told, I don't know too many people that well there, but I've told a couple of people there about it now. They call me Bretto.
Oh no, that's not what you want. You don't want other people
I
calling you
know.
Brent under that roof. Brett.
Yeah.
I had it.
By the way, not Brent.
Yeah,
Get it right, man.
I used to work with a guy, William Hamilton, W. Hamilton, and the gas station. I'd go to the BP every morning, and after a while, because I got to know this guy, and he's an awesome guy, but he started calling me Willie because of William W. Hamilton, this massive company. Like, there's vans everywhere. It's like, King, does he honestly think I'm the brains behind this? Brains behind these workforce building? And he just kept calling me Willie. It went for like 3 years. Still calls me Willie. Maybe he knows. Maybe I'm not giving him his due. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, that's some tough time. So you got a rodent, you've got to try and clear out, and then another rodent at the gym that you're trying to get to call you the right name.
I'll keep you updated, and I'll also retell. I'm sure I must have told it on the podcast a few years ago, but I used to get called Rob a lot when I introduced myself, and I say, "Hey, Rob, how are you?" I've got a doozy of a story that I've told millions of times in my life, but it's that good, and it involves a minor celebrity. So I'll update you next time we're on together, Brad. What's the latest with old Bretto? Bretto's battles, and
oh, it's nice to have you over for a change. Actually, yeah, it's nice hearing you dealing with daily battles. Isn't it good sharing them though? Isn't it? And you don't realize you got them until you start talking about them. It's like, hang on, I've got a bit going on here. I'm working through a few things here.
Well, you're on a bit of a tight time frame, Brad, so we better get into Sunday's game. It's Magic Round. I'm excited for Magic Round, not as much as I would be if we were going a bit better, but it does add an extra element to this game against Penrith. I'll run you through where we're sitting according to Ladbrokes, and thank you to Ladbrokes for their support of This Warrior's Life. You can catch my round 11 preview of all 8 games at the Ladbrokes blog. The links and whatnot will be in the episode notes. Also this week, in honour of our mate Trey Fuller, the great late bloomers of all time. So there's a few trips down memory lane there, a bit of Terry Hermanson, bit of Chicka Ferguson. Who else have we got in there? Cody Walker, Matt King, Brian Fletcher, all these sort of mature age stars. And jump on there for some of my content with Ladbrokes. And looking at the futures odds, the Warriors have spiraled out of control in the premiership market, where I think we came in as skinny as $13 after that Souths win. Ooh, we've come in a little bit. We were $101 after that loss to the Roosters. We're back into a juicy $81 if you think we can win the comp. Maybe there's a few a few optimistic. Was that you, Brad? After you put your $10 at $71 at halftime for us to get the win,
Yeah, bump the
from
prices down a
26
bit,
mil
mate.
down.
Yeah, that's how much money's going on them at the moment, isn't it? Jesus.
So yeah, we've fallen a long way behind some pretty ordinary teams. Nevertheless, a week's a long time rugby league, and we'll see where we are in the Ladbrokes Premiership market after Sunday's game. Speaking of, we're $4.80 outsiders to beat Penrith, who are $1.19. Not surprisingly, 13.5 point start they're giving us. Running through the team list, Brad, because there is plenty of changes. We've got Tane to a picky at fullback. Marcelo is back on the wing for Ed Cossey. We'd probably be a lot more excited about this if it wasn't under such tough circumstances. But Ali Leatawa getting his first, just a second NRL game. First since that sensational debut at Canberra. He comes in for Rocco Berry at right centre. Big chance for him, though. Chance Nickel Clodstad, the shock selection at number 6, with Tamari Martin moving to 7 jersey. Same pack as last week with Barnett on the edge. If I was starting the interchange, Dylan Walker, who has to be under a slight cloud, you would think. Tom Ale again, Jazz Tavanga again, and Jacob Laban added to the bench with Lussick, of course, out. Yeah, what do you make of that, Brad? Do you think we're going to see, I mean, surely, well, either a straight swap with Tuapiki and Chance, or I can also see a situation where Tuapiki takes all the kick returns, Chance defends in the front line, but on attack, Tuapiki becomes like a first receiver or essentially a 5'8", and Chance goes out the back. What do you reckon?
Which I don't see why there's not more of that in league. Likes of Roger, why not having him swapping? I wouldn't mind seeing Tuapiki up there in the front line, marshalling a little bit more. He's got a kicking game. I don't know if I've ever seen Chance kick a ball. Barely seen him pass the ball, let alone now he's playing 5'8", which is going to be a bit of an eye opener for me as well.
If I wouldn't mind it if we had, if it was Johnson at halfback, but Tamata has been incredibly quiet. He's been like the 6th string playmaker inside the 20. So it's, obviously if they're running, they just can't run those halves. And we saw it in that finals game against Penrith that when it was Martin and Walker, they were just aimless. I think we've seen Tuapiki playing a fullback role, but on attack, essentially being a half, doing most of the kicking, a lot of the playmaking, and I think that's probably
which I'm fine with. Hopefully that's how it runs, because I'm fine with that. I just don't see why they need.
Yeah, there's Walker also in the 17. I mean, obviously that weekends another middle spot, which isn't ideal, and we're already down Barnett essentially being on an edge. I guess we'll see. Come to game day, there's just so many possible permutations, but that's kind of what I think. I'll roll with Tuapiki, but essentially being a half, but doing the kick returns.
And I think you highlight that it is a little bit gutting that Leotard was forced into the team under these circumstances rather than playing himself in on film. I think he's got a pretty bright future, that kid. One of those ones that just plays at the same level no matter what comp he's playing or banner he's playing under. I'm quietly excited about him. How many people do you reckon there will be any late change? What's the extended bench again? If there was the chance of a late change, could that happen?
So there's Zion Mau, Ed Cossey is in there, Paul Roach is in there. Obviously, he adds some dummy half cover. I think maybe if Walker was injured, Roach might be a shot at coming in. I'm not sure. Tanner Stowell-Smith and Ben Farr actually is in the 22 this week as well.
It's gee whiz, we definitely need some cover for Egan, don't we?
Well, yeah, interesting call to start Lussick on the weekend. It didn't really
Jeez,
pay off
it
because he
could be
got steamrolled by Dom Young.
but that could have been Egan. That's what he was there for, man, to take that smack in the kisser.
Well, and then Egan couldn't keep his head out of trouble. Anyway, he was cut open within about a minute,
He
and
did
then
not get sent off for HIA. He was.
and then in Lussick, according to the match stats, lasted 23 seconds when he came back on before he was
laid out.
poleaxed and taken off. So yeah, anyway, it is obviously a risk not running with another hooker. But it seems like when they've gone with a genuine 4-4 bench, Egan just plays out the 80 and doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Walker still is yet to have to go into dummy half.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key. Looking at Penrith's lineup, obviously no Nathan Cleary, Jack Cole coming to the halves with Jerome Luai. He came off the bench last week, Cole. Don't know too much about him. Obviously, it'd be Luai will be running the show. Full strength back five. I think Sorensen is probably your only out of the first choice pack. And yeah, I think they've probably got a couple of other. Yeah, I think there might be just Sorensen and Cleary of their first choice 17 out. Looks like a pretty strong lineup other than Cleary. Just a quick stat for you, Brad. Since Sean Johnson's debut, obviously excluding the 3 years he was at Cronulla, we've played 26 games without him. 1-5.
Uh-oh. And when did you say our last win was? Was it 2019, our last win against Penrith?
Yeah, lost 8 straight. We did win, I think, an early season game at Penrith. Cody Nikorima starring. And then we lost later that year at home. James Maloney kicking a golden point field goal that kickstarted an 8-match losing streak. Most of our losses have been pretty hefty. I think 6 of the last 7 by 12 points or more. In saying that, they were really gutsy last year on Magic Round Saturday, 18-6, and a couple of sim binnings, and we hung in until the very last sort of 5 minutes before Penrith sealed it. Without Cleary, the Panthers have still won 15 of their last 20, which is pretty impressive without
it is
the best player in the game. So, yeah, looks a bit bleak on the surface, Brad. I don't know whether they try and run with the same game plan or just go out and think, look, fuck it, we've got a shitload of guys out, a lot of changes. You know, we're in a hole. Let's just go out and play what's in front of us. You know, Ali is not going in there to play Rocco's game. He's going out there to do his thing and play to his strengths. See what happens. Hopefully, Tomato gets busy. Hopefully, we see plenty. Just tell Tane to go out there and get the ball on his hands as much as he can and have a crack. I don't think there's too much point with that. I mean, imagine at the start of the year, and you're saying, "Oh, by the way, when we go to Magic Round, that's going to be your 1-7." Diabolical.
It's not a good place to be, and we're right back to where we were a couple of years ago. All of a sudden, we just want to see a decent effort. You know what I mean? We're like, we
just want effort.
Wins now. We just want effort, and but bugger it, bloody hell. That's Warriors last week.
Yeah, it is, and I think I think we haven't seen any fire or fury in our team this year. I mean, I know we play a very structured game and very, percentages game, but there's been just a lack of real desire. Get out there, fucking smash someone, get binned.
Yeah,
get binned if you have to, but let them know we're not fucking around. Let them know you're there. Yeah. And hopefully we just see something to lift the fan base's spirit, because no one's expecting to beat Penrith.
No,
but we definitely don't want to see another limp effort before coming home for what should be a winnable game against the Dolphins, at least. So before the bye.
Yeah.
Only 3 games left before we head up
this
to
weekend,
Watson, Brad.
When is it? What day is this weekend?
The first game of the Sunday triple header. So I think the kickoff is at 3:50 New Zealand time.
Oh, awesome.
1:50 local.
Yeah, sick bowl.
And then a couple of games after to either celebrate our win or forget about the loss.
Are we up there? Is it after the bye round, or is there a game after the bye round, and then we go up to Storm?
So next week, Dolphins at home on the Sunday, then a bye, then Cowboys away, and then Storm at home, and that's
Storm
us.
at home. That's us. Ah, sweet. Oh well,
Something
to look forward to, eh?
That TWL catch up is
oh Jesus.
it's been changed from function room at Sky City to phone booth somewhere out in Papatoetoe.
You know, I seen a dude using a phone booth yesterday, on the phone in a phone
really?
booth. Yeah, I could tell why he needed the phone. He was you could tell he didn't have a cell phone, but yeah, using a functioning phone booth.
Phone, do you think?
Yeah, just
do you even have phone cards these days?
I don't know. Yeah, phone cards. Out of it. Phone cards were legit back in the day, though, eh? It was like a credit card, but for a phone. Out of it. Anyway, I've got to do heaps of shit. I'm sorry, Will.
Yeah, no, sounds good, mate. We'll get this out, and thanks for bearing with me through these tough times.
And we might have to do a short one because we really need to get to the Joe's Garage winners, as well as probably dishing in a couple more of them. So maybe we do a short one at the end of the week, eh?
Yeah, some 30 for 30 maybe. We'll see how we're going. But stay tuned. If we don't talk to you before then, enjoy Magic Round. Just soak it up. Hopefully we see something from the boys this Sunday. And obviously we'll be back breaking it down next week. Take it easy.